Are we recording? Ah, crap. Hey kids, welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank and I hope that you are having a great day. So in a previous video, I went over the idea that you don't have to be collecting valuable cards or even vintage cards in order to have a large collection of trading cards that you enjoy. And since posting that video online, I've gotten some responses in the comments section on YouTube, and I've also received some some people reached out to me on Discord, and I had a very engaging back and forth conversation with one gentleman in particular who had some pressing questions that I don't think are wrong necessarily, but I enjoyed the conversation and I wanted to express my response to his two questions in particular that I think are just kind of worth discussing. The first question is a bit easier for me to respond to, and that is maybe less of a question and more of a statement on his behalf, and that is basically the idea that collectors and investors are one and the same when it comes to the trading card world, and that everybody who's collecting cards, regardless of if they're expensive or cheap cards, wants their collection to appreciate in value over time. And to a certain extent, I can kind of see where people would be coming from if they take that stance. However, I really need to stress that collectors and investors are not necessarily the same thing. There are a lot of investors who are collectors of cards, and then there are also a lot of collectors who happen to invest in cards. However, these are not mutually inclusive categories. It's totally possible to have a very large investment into any collectibles category, whether it's cards, video games, plushies, etc., and have absolutely no interest in that thing that you're buying a lot of. You know, I feel like it's the same as with like the stock market. You might have a large stock portfolio, but you might not be interested in any of those companies that you're buying pieces of. Conversely, or inversely, I forget how it works, you can be someone who has a very large collection that you're very proud of, and at the same time, you see that collection as an investment. However, just as many people are out there who are collecting the cards that they want just to have them for themselves. They have no plans to sell those cards at a later date, whether for profit or not. They just want those cards to have in their personal collection, and then they aren't planning on getting rid of them. They aren't investing. They are just collecting. And I feel like that's the easier of the two things to respond to. It's just, yeah, there are a lot of collectors out there who are investors, and there are a lot of investors out there who have collections of their own, but they aren't always one and the same. The second question he had for me was one that got me thinking for a while, and I was actually surprised by how much thought I ended up giving to this one. And it's, all right, regardless of value, nostalgia, etc., you wipe all of that off the plate. You get rid of playability as a criteria. You get rid of history as a criteria. You get rid of price as a criteria. What do you use to determine what cards you collect? And the simple answer is no criteria needed. For any reason, I think, that you can come up with is a good reason to collect a card. Maybe you just really like the name. Maybe you like the story behind how the card got printed in the first place. There's a bunch of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, for instance, that have kind of funny printing stories behind them. Maybe you just like odd attack and defense point values on certain Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I think there's one that has like 75 in its defense point value. That's crazy to me. You know, when it comes to Magic the Gathering cards, maybe you like all the cards by a certain artist. Maybe you like all of the cards that have a hat in them. Maybe you have a huge binder full of all the cards that have people sitting in a chair. You know, when it comes to determining the criteria of what you're going to collect, sans anything else, it really is up to you, the individual, and there's really nobody on the planet who can judge your collection based on any criteria other than the one that you've set. You know, there's a lot of people out there who are worried, you know, where do I start my collection journey? What do I, pick apart first? And to them, I have to say, just choose a card you like and fill up a binder page full of it. You know, most binders are 3x3, 9-slot binders. So do yourself a favor and find one single card you like, buy 9 copies of that card, throw them in a binder, and see how that makes you feel. And if you like that, congratulations, you've got a full page collection right there of whatever it is. And figure out what about that card you like, and then try to apply that same criteria to other cards to make that binder of yours even thicker with more cards that fit those same criteria. Another thing to keep in mind that was also brought up during the conversation is earlier when I said that nobody else can judge your collection based on your own merits. I mean that very sincerely. There is always going to be somebody out there who doesn't like whatever it is you're collecting. You know, if you're collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! And you have found yourself absolutely in love with Shatterfoil cards for whatever reason, and you fill a binder full of just Shatterfoil cards in, you know, various creature types, you're going to have people who just don't like that. You know, in Magic the Gathering, I know I personally hate a lot of the art choices they have used in many secret layers, and I know that there's a lot of people out there who share my opinions. However, if you're somebody who likes the design of those same secret layers, then you really shouldn't care what someone like me thinks. You should collect it and enjoy it regardless of how other people feel about it, because at the end of the day, you're not doing this for somebody else. You're not doing this to impress somebody else. You're doing this because you like it. And yeah, there is the idea that you want others to appreciate what you've built. You want to share your joy with others. But at the end of the day, if the only person in the world who likes the collection you've built is you, then it doesn't really matter, because you like it, and that's really what's most important. Let me give you 2 examples here. I'm going to show off 2 collections of mine. Up first, we have Nalafni Dragon, and this binder is basically exclusively Nalafni Dragons. You see, I fell in love with this card a few years ago just because of a combination of the art, which is very nice in my opinion, the fact that this is one of the earliest Magic the Gathering promos, the fact that it's a red card with banding, and for those of you who don't know, in Magic the Gathering, red cards don't really have banding. And the fact that it's effectively just a baby dragon retrain with just banding slapped onto it, I thought that was pretty neat. And yeah, I've been buying a bunch of these over the years just to have them in my personal collection. And a lot of other people think that this card is lame, and oh well, it's good enough for me. Jumping over to Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't have a binder for this, but this is the Amabi card released during the COVID pandemic as a play-at-home promo. And for those of you who don't know, Amabi is kind of like a cultural yokai whose drawings are supposed to bring you healing. If you see a picture of this particular creature, it's supposed to make you feel better. And I thought that that was just such a cute little promo thing that Konami did, trying to wish all their players good health, that I had to get as many of these as I could. And just like Nalathni Dragon, I'm buying these to this day. Now, neither of those cards are particularly impressive, and I have had people who've told me that they are just kind of lame in their own ways. But I like them, and that's what matters to me. And what you collect should matter only to you. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day. Like I've said before, just get what you want to get and collect what you want to collect. What do you think about collecting in general, though? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you want to see me get healthy, go ahead and leave a like, because for every like this video receives, I will be doing a push-up in the next one. See you later. My previous video got 25 likes. Whew, that's 25.